Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Ozcast.
It feels like all you hear these days is crypto winter, you know? Bear market this, bear market that.
Yeah.
But is the whole crypto world really frozen over?
Not exactly.
Yeah.
Not exactly.
We found this article from Crypto News Australia about a project that's actually kind of bucking the trend right now.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating about this is that even in this, down market, we are seeing these really interesting pockets of like innovation and growth. And so that's what makes this deep dive so interesting.
Totally. This one's all about Sony. Their new layer 2 scaling solution, Soneium.
Right.
They've been hitting some pretty impressive milestones lately.
They have.
And we're going to unpack exactly what that means and why you should care.
I think a good way to think about layer 2 is like, it's like turbocharging the blockchain.
Okay.
It's not just about making transactions faster and cheaper, though.
Right.
It does that too. But I think what's key here is that Soneium manages to do this while still leveraging Sony's security infrastructure. And that is a big deal for mainstream adoption, which Sony obviously has a lot of experience with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into some specifics here. The Crypto News Australia article is titled, Sony's Layer 2 Scaling Solution Passes US 45 Meters in TVL. Now, I know TVL is something that everyone following crypto has heard about, but for anyone who needs just a quick reminder.
Yeah, so TVL stands for Total Value Locked. And it's essentially like the market cap for stocks, but in the DeFi world. So it's the total value of all the assets that are currently being staked, lent, or used in various DeFi protocols on that specific blockchain.
Right.
And in Soneium's case, that number has blown past $45 million in less than a quarter since launch.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, especially considering, most projects have seen their TVL like absolutely plummet during this bear market. So Soneium isn't just surviving.
Right.
It's growing like crazy. The article says an 87% monthly growth rate.
87%. And that kind of growth puts them right up there in the top 60 blockchain networks by TVL. I mean, for a project this young, that's really significant. It's telling us that there's real user demand, even in this market.
Yeah.
But high TVL, it's not just a vanity metric.
Right.
It's more than just trust. It signals to developers that Soneium is where the users are.
Right.
Which means more dApps, the things that you might find useful, are likely to be built there.
Yeah.
Increasing Soneium's value over time, kind of a snowball effect.
That makes sense. So it's not just speculation driving this growth. There's actual utility
Exactly.
starting to emerge. And the article points to decentralized exchanges, or DXs, as a major factor here. We're talking about Kyo Finance, Velodrome, Sonex, right?
Exactly. So DXs are basically these peer-to-peer marketplaces where you can trade cryptocurrencies without having to go through a centralized exchange.
Right.
And on Soneium, these DXs have been seeing crazy TVL growth themselves.
Yeah.
20% for Kyo Finance, 113% for Velodrome, and a massive 115% for Sonex.
Wow.
All just in the past week.
It makes you wonder, like, how much of a role Sony's brand recognition is playing here, right? Like, maybe people feel more comfortable dipping their toes into DeFi when it's a name that they already know and trust.
Yeah, makes sense.
That being said, it's not just about being a big name. Soneium also launched this really clever Conquest campaign.
Ah, yes, the Conquest campaign. This was a strategic move by Soneium.
Okay.
They cleverly gamified user engagement, partnering with Galx, which is a platform for creating these Web3 community campaigns.
So it wasn't just about giving away free stuff. It was about education and engagement.
Exactly.
Right, like users earn rewards for completing tasks, learning about Soneium, and basically exploring the entire ecosystem.
It's a great way to incentivize participation.
Yeah.
And build some buzz, which is hard to do in a bear market when everyone's, feeling kind of down.
Yeah, for sure. And it wasn't just randomly throwing rewards around.
Yeah.
It had a specific focus on Web3 gaming, which, let's be honest, is like the hottest space in crypto right now.
Oh, absolutely. Web3 gaming has the potential to bring this whole new wave of users into the blockchain world. Yep. And this campaign tapped into that perfectly,
Yeah.
by getting gamers familiar with Soneium in a fun and engaging way.
Okay, but it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows for Soneium, was it?
Right.
I mean, they did hit a snag early on with that whole meme coin controversy.
Yeah. The article mentions a community backlash when Soneium decided to ban certain meme coins from being traded on their DXs.
Yeah, and this is where Sony's influence, I think, gets really interesting because they're used to operating in highly regulated spaces.
Right.
So is this a sign of things to come? Will Soneium prioritize a more controlled environment to attract those mainstream users?
That's a big question. It raises the issue of decentralization.
Yeah.
Will Soneium be able to, appease regulators and big institutions while also staying true to the kind of core values of crypto? It remains to be seen.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see how they balance those competing interests.
It definitely makes you think about, what are the trade-offs involved here?
Yeah.
Because Sony's name might bring comfort and stability to some, but will it come at the expense of the Wild West freedom that, that drew a lot of us to crypto in the first place?
Right. It's a classic dilemma for any emerging technology, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's striking that balance between innovation, freedom, and responsible growth.
Right.
And Soneium is a prime example of that tension playing out in real time.
So it seems like we've got this project with huge potential, backed by a major player, but also facing some really, really tough questions about its future direction. This is definitely one to keep an eye on. For sure. Yeah, it's a classic pick your poison scenario, right? Do you go for the big name with maybe some strings attached? Or the fully decentralized project that might just never gain traction?
Right, and that's what makes this whole story so fascinating, Soneium isn't just another layer 2 solution. It's really a glimpse into how these mainstream giants like Sony are trying to navigate this new world of blockchain.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, what does this mean for the future of crypto? Could this be a sign that we're moving towards a more, corporate-friendly blockchain space?
Yeah, it's certainly possible. I think Sony's involvement definitely lends a degree of legitimacy to the crypto world.
Right.
And that could attract other big companies that have been hesitant to dip their toes in.
Right, because let's be honest, for the average person, crypto still feels kind of like the Wild West.
Yeah.
But when you see a company like Sony, with their reputation and their global reach, stepping into the arena, that sends a strong signal.
Absolutely. It could very well be a catalyst for mass adoption. Imagine a world where, your PlayStation Network wallet integrates seamlessly with decentralized applications.
Whoa.
That's the kind of potential we're talking about here. And that could extend far beyond gaming. Think about it.
Okay, stop. I need to catch my breath. That's a huge leap, but I can see how it's possible. I mean, Sony's already got millions of users, right? Hooked on their ecosystem. If they can connect that to the world of blockchain.
It's not just about gaming either. Blockchain technology has applications in so many different industries. You've got supply chain management, digital identity, content distribution, you name it.
Right.
And Sony has a hand in a lot of those areas already.
Okay, let's zoom out for a second. We've got Soneium, a layer 2 solution backed by this major corporation seeing incredible growth and a bear market. What does this tell us about the broader blockchain landscape? Because I think a lot of people are feeling kind of doom and gloom these days.
Well, I think it suggests that despite the current kind of market sentiment, the underlying technology is still developing at a rapid pace.
So maybe this crypto winter is actually more like a period of, pruning, where the strongest projects, the ones with the real-world applications, are the ones that are going to survive and thrive.
That's a very insightful way to put it.
Yeah.
It's like a forest fire.
Yeah.
It might seem destructive at first,
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Right.
but it actually clears the way for new growth. And in the long run, it creates a more resilient and sustainable ecosystem.
So for those of us who are in it for the long haul, who believe in the potential of blockchain to change the world, maybe this is a good thing, like a chance to kind of separate the wheat from the chaff.
Exactly. It forces us to focus on the fundamentals. And Soneium, with its focus on scalability, security, and user experience, is a good example of what the future of blockchain might look like.
So what should people be watching for as Soneium kind of continues to develop? What are the key things that will tell us if this is really going to be a game changer?
Well, keep an eye on the DApp ecosystem.
Hmm.
The number and quality of decentralized applications that are being built on Soneium, that's going to be a crucial indicator of its long-term success.
Okay.
It's all about utility at the end of the day. If developers are excited about building on Soneium, that's a really good sign.
And obviously we'll be watching to see if Sony starts, integrating Soneium into their other products and services.
Yeah.
Because that's when things could get really interesting.
Yeah, that would be a huge signal. If they can successfully bridge the gap between traditional tech and blockchain, I mean, it could unlock a whole new world of possibilities, not just for Sony, but for the entire blockchain space.
Right. Well, on that note, I think it's time to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question, something to really chew on.
I love it. Give them something to ponder.
Okay, here it is. Soneium is thriving in the midst of a bear market, at least in part due to its relationship with Sony. So does this mean that to achieve mass adoption, blockchain needs to cozy up to big corporations? Is this a necessary compromise? Or can we maintain that decentralized ethos that drew so many of us to crypto in the first place? It's a complex question with no easy answers.
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's something that we'll all need to grapple with as blockchain technology continues to evolve.
It's not just about the technology itself, right? It's about the values that underpin it. What kind of future do we want to build? What role will blockchain play in that future?
And who gets to decide? These are important questions, and there's no single right answer. But the success of projects like Soneium is forcing us to have these conversations.
And that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because these are the conversations that we need to be having if we want to build a future where blockchain technology is truly beneficial for everyone. It's just fascinating to see how much the conversation around crypto has shifted. Because a year ago, most people, I think, would have scoffed at the idea of Sony being a driving force in crypto. But here we are.
It is a sign of the times, and I think it speaks to Soneium's strategy.
Okay.
They're not just building tech, they're building bridges.
Mm.
Bridges between the traditional world
Right.
and the blockchain world.
Yeah, and that's where this whole Conquest campaign that we keep coming back to really comes into play. Because it wasn't just about teaching people the technical details of Soneium. It was about creating a sense of community.
Right.
A feeling of belonging.
Yeah, and the campaign really tapped into the power of gamification. It incentivized users to explore the Soneium ecosystem together, to learn together, to earn rewards together. And that shared experience is so powerful.
Yeah, it reminds me of when I first got into crypto. Because it felt so confusing, so intimidating.
Right.
But then I found this online community and suddenly it all clicked. Having that support system makes such a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about fostering a sense of ownership. Right. When people feel like they're part of something bigger, they're more likely to stick around, to contribute, to become advocates.
Yeah, and that's crucial, I think, for any project, especially in the crypto space where things move so fast and there's just so much noise.
It's about cutting through the clutter. And Soneium did that brilliantly by focusing on Web3 gaming.
Right, because gamers are already used to digital communities, in-game economies.
Exactly, yeah.
So introducing them to blockchain concepts through gaming is a natural fit.
It is. It's a way to onboard this whole new generation of users who might not have even considered crypto before.
I mean, think about games that you've played where you wished you could trade items with other players.
Oh, yeah.
Like a rare weapon or a unique skin. And that's kind of the promise that Soneium hints at. Right? But to get there, it's going to take more than just the tech.
Right.
It's going to take these game studios who currently control those in-game assets to buy in.
That's the billion-dollar question.
Yeah.
Will they be willing to relinquish that control? Or will they see the potential benefits of a more open and interoperable gaming ecosystem?
Yeah, it's a gamble, for sure. But if Sony can pull it off, if they can convince these big studios to come on board, the implications are huge, not just for gaming, but for the entire blockchain space.
Because it's about more than just gaming.
Yeah.
It's about this concept of interoperability. Imagine a world where you can seamlessly move your digital assets, your identity, across different platforms and applications. That's the ultimate vision of blockchain.
It's a powerful vision. And Soneium, with its blend of cutting-edge tech, this mainstream appeal, and this community focus, might just be a glimpse into that future.
It's a fascinating case study, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one thing is certain. Sony's move into the blockchain arena has shaken things up. They've injected a much-needed dose of energy and excitement into the space.
And they've shown that even in a bear market, like, innovation doesn't stop. It might even accelerate.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the hype dies down, that's when the real builders come out to play.
It's a reminder that we're still in the early innings of this blockchain revolution.
For sure.
And the most exciting chapters are yet to be written.
So buckle up, folks. It's going to be a wild ride. And as always, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the ever-evolving world of blockchain technology.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast. Ozcast. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.